All right. Have you been you've been paying any sort of attention to the Olympics?
You know, I feel kind of stupid telling you that I haven't. I'm not an Olympic hater by any means. I'm really not. But I'm just not, like, super into them. Like, do you prefer the summer or the winter?
Well, I mean, it all sort of depends. I like watching snowboarding. See, like, I like that. I used to be the action sports news guy on a Sirius XM station called Faction, and like all of that. Like when my band was a band, we were on like the X Games soundtrack, and we did the X Games tour, and like we were definitely a part of that sort of scene, if you will. And then I wound up being a guy that reported on all of it, and the moment I had to stop doing it professionally, I just stopped paying attention to it. Like it's like a lot of things. Once it became a job, I was like, I'm not interested in this anymore. So I actually did enjoy watching. You know, I enjoyed watching some of the snowboarding. That was, and I don't think I would have taken time out of my day to do it, but I was home and it was on. So you know, I mean, it's really cool. It was really cool.
That's pretty much the same boat that I'm in. Like, it's one of those things that I like the snowboarding. I played ice hockey in like a beer league, so I mean, I love ice hockey, but am I going to watch it? No, I'm probably not. Like, I love like the long jump, like the skiing, you know, like where it looks like they're flying for like
an
insane amount of time. And that like snowcross or whatever, like the like snowboard racing, that's like awesome. But like, I don't know, it's just weird. They have some like weird sports, man. I can't really get into a lot of it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. Jamie Anderson and Red Gerard both took gold. That was kind of cool. You know, like we took 2 gold medals in snowboarding, but like snowboarding is such an intrinsically American thing that it's almost like that one basketball that one year where the dream team went there and just like completely destroyed everyone else. It's like, oh, they won, what a surprise. You know, it's
exactly.
It's one of those things that's in, you know, the same way America, like, you know what I watched that I kind of enjoyed? The biathlon.
Oh my God, no. Is that stupid one? It is.
Ski a little, shoot a little.
Oh my God. I can't believe that's an event. How is this? Seriously?
Okay, well, so like I found myself wondering the same thing because, you know, as a sport goes, it's, you know, how is this a sport? You know, I didn't play, this wasn't part of my PE curriculum when I was a kid. Like you cross country ski and then you shoot stuff. But what it was a military training exercise for Norwegians going back to the days of like bows and arrows and stuff. And then it became sort of like, yeah. And so like, unsurprisingly, people that do well at that tend to be Norwegian. Go figure.
So now tell me this, because you watched it apparently, and I hate to put you on the spot in case you don't know, but do they carry, like, is it a handgun? No,
it's a rifle.
It's a rifle. Do they carry the rifle on them while they're skiing?
On their back, yeah.
You have to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, the training that people go through to become sort of like a Navy SEAL or a Marine or something, or just, you know, during Army boot camp where you got to run with a backpack on your back and all this sort of stuff. It's meant to sort of mimic that. It's a military exercise that has graduated into a sport.
So they're skiing down a hill with
no, it's cross country skiing. It's cross country skiing. So there are some hills, but like, so the more it sounds and looks ridiculous, but the more you get into it, the more interesting it becomes because you realize that. I don't know how much shooting you've done with rifles. I've done very little, but I know that breathing comes into it. And so like because it's cross country skiing and they're propelling themselves, it's, you know, it's a massive, it's sort of like a marathon in a lot of ways. And their heart rate is crazy up. So they have to like shoot during a very specific point in their breathing. Like it's fascinating.
Hang on.
Stuff.
Are they shooting while they're skiing?
No, they ski, then they get to the shoot. There's 2 things. You shoot while you are lying down, and then you shoot while you're standing up. And when you're lying down, it's easier because you're stabilized. And then when you're standing up, it's more difficult. And you do the standing up shooting. That's a second bit of shooting that you do. Like, and so you're more tired, you know, like you're like your muscles and your circulatory system and all the above are more fatigued. So therefore it's more challenging to hold a heavy rifle and take a shot. So it's really kind of like an endurance thing, but they seem like they would be 2 unique disciplines. And, you know, the idea that they exist together, like Olympic shooting, I can understand that. Olympic skiing, I can understand that. Put those hands together, baby. You know, it's just like,
I'll be completely honest with you. I'd probably be a little more into it if they were shooting while they were skiing. Like there's something dangerous and cool about that.
That would be very James Bond-esque. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it also made me wonder, and I know nothing about it, but I was like, I wonder if some of these, they're clearly good at cross-country skiing. I wonder if they ever think of just competing at the cross-country skiing part in the Winter Olympics. Like, hey, you know, I could do great at this if I didn't have a gun on my back. I wonder if they cross-country ski and compete with that. But, yeah. I watched Red Gerard and Jamie Anderson win their gold medals at slopestyle snowboarding. And I thought that was kind of cool. Red Gerard, who's like a 17-year-old kid, won the gold and then cursed on the air.
Oh, nice.
Red Gerard now, one more jump to navigate. Will it be enough? There, he puts it down. The triple cork, 1440.
And the score now coming in for Max Perot. It's not enough. The teenager from Silverthorne is now the golden kid of Colorado. Red Gerard is your Olympic gold medalist in slopestyle.
You're 17 years old. You just won an Olympic gold medal. I don't think anyone's holding that one against you.
Yeah, that's the truth.
But they did. We beeped it. They did not catch it on TV.
Oh, so it aired. It actually aired.
Yeah, it aired.
How in the world does this stuff not air on delay? I mean, seriously.
Well, I mean, also, like, the people that are monitoring that stuff, you got to bear in mind, people are screaming their heads off, and they might not have, like, they might have heard it afterwards and been like, oh, didn't hear that the first time around. You know what I mean? Like,
that is ridiculous. What did he say? They got to have, like, 20 to 30 second delay to catch that. To let that slip, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's, the other thing is NBC, and I don't even know who she is, but NBC had an English chick as one of the presenters for and like, and people are all sorts of mad that there's like an English broadcaster doing broadcasting for Team America, NBC.
Like, are you serious? People are
mad? I can kind of well, I mean, look, it's the Olympics, this is like USA, literally Team USA. And I can also sort of understand it. It's just like, okay, Simon Cowell comes here, tells us we can't sing. Gordon Ramsay comes here, tells us we can't cook. Nannies come here from England and tell us we don't know how to raise our freaking kids. Like, can we have one time where there's not an English person? And could that time be where we're representing Team USA?
I guess that's a heck of a point. That is a really good point.
But I don't know what her name was, but I really thought the English broadcaster was really good at it. And it was one of those things where, like, I don't know what it was. There's a certain type of, how do I start? How do I explain this? There's a certain lack of ambition in England that in some cases is kind of appealing. You know what I mean? Like, there's deep roots here, and it goes back to sort of like the English version of socialism, where it does, and I know this because I grew up over there, where, look, if you break your leg, the National Health Service are going to take care of it. If you don't have a job, it's not stigmatized to go on welfare. It's easy to live off of the government in England. And it's a whole big ball of wax that we don't need to go through right now. But one of the upshots of it, besides knowing that if you get a cold, it's not going to cost you $500 to get some penicillin or whatever antibiotic it is you need, or whatever med it is you need to get through it, the way it did for me last time I got a cold, and I have supposedly excellent health insurance. That's neither here nor there. But like the elements of socialism they have in England are sort of ambition killers, and anybody who is like shown to be somewhat, they call it tall poppy syndrome. Like, you stick your head up above the crowd.
Name? That's
ridiculous. Like tall poppy syndrome. You stick your head up above the crowd. You think you're a little better, taller than everybody else. They're going to chop your head right off. And so it breeds a certain complacency and a certain lack of egoism and a certain, like, I wasn't trying to show off or anything, that when you're a reporter and you're just reporting the facts, it's appealing, as opposed to watching some of these ham-fisted American folks trying to riff and trying to be cool with it and trying to, like, what's my take on the Olympics? How can I editorialize? Oh, the Olympics involves me. This is my shot. Like, that's kind of like the American broadcaster. The English people don't, they feel lucky to be on TV at all, and they're certainly not about to make it about them. It's really about the Olympians. So I'm just going to stand here like a little wallflower in the background and give you information and not be so freaking obnoxious about it. So I got to say, as unpatriotic as it sounds, listen to me. I opened the show with "Don't have a military parade." You know what I like? English broadcasters. Slippery slope, my friends. Slippery slope.
Sometimes you just know you're done. You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away. Radio. Radio. 104.1.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you my musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD, and can't nobody rock a body better than me.
So here's the thing. Part of the reason why you might not have been watching the Winter Olympics as much as you would have liked to is it's tough to watch the Winter Olympics live this year unless you stay up really, really late or wake up super, super early. South Korea is more than half a day ahead. It's like 14 hours ahead of the East Coast, 17 hours ahead of the West Coast. So most of the events happen in the middle of the night for us. So some of the events will air in prime time. Don't want to spoil it for anyone, but here are 3 things that happened earlier. The internet kind of ruins this form of broadcasting. We won 2 gold medals in snowboarding. 17-year-old Red Gerard, who we heard curse, he won America's first gold of the games in men's slopestyle on Saturday. Jamie Anderson took gold in the ladies slopestyle. She also won in 2012. 29-year-old Chris Mazder took home silver in the men's luge. It's the first time the U.S. has ever medaled in the event. I always wonder about the luge. Do you watch, like, you've seen people compete in the luge, right?
I like the luge and I like the bobsled. I think I like the luge better.
The luge seems infinitely more dangerous. It's sort of like a bobsled-esque run, yet all that's between you and the ice is a bunch of sharp metal that you're lying on top of, and you're essentially in Spider-Man underoos, and you're going 90 miles an hour. Like, imminent death seems like something that could happen very, very easily. It's just, yeah.
Was it Seinfeld that he was talking about the luge and he said something like the Olympic event that I would like to see would be the involuntary luge, where you grab a guy, put him on the sled and just push him down, because is he going to do any worse than the guy who's been practicing for months?
He makes a valid point, but like
a very valid point.
But you know, we took home silver in the men's luge, so now we like it. For the first time in the Winter Olympics, we're not a bunch of losers. See what I did there?
Oh my God, you and your dad.
Also, here's the other thing. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but all over the internet, you know, like if you search, go, oh, and this is why as a parent you have to get out in front of these things and you have to explain how the world works to your kids, because otherwise the internet is going to warp their young minds, their young impressionable minds. But say you were innocent and you were a 10-year-old kid and you went, America won the silver medal in the luge. What men's luge? Okay, I'm just going to look at men's luge. Guaranteed one of the first things to pop up is articles about how the camera focuses right on their packages as they're coming down. Like, everyone's been talking about this on the internet. It's just like, and here's like he plays 5th, but great package. You know, it's just like,
oh my God, you're serious. I literally just Googled it because I'm like, there's no way in heck that it says that. And that one of the first things that pops up, 11 men's luge bulges that deserve gold medals.
It's all over the internet. It's all over the internet. And like, all you got to do is Google men's luge, and the first thing you see is like the internet admiring lugers' junks. It's the weirdest thing. And like I said,
well, you would think a dangerous sport like they don't. Oh my God, I can't. I feel sick now that I'm even analyzing this. Surely they wear a supporter, a cup, right? I mean, surely they do, but it's not looking like they do.
Let me clarify. I did not go looking for these pictures. But I mean, also, if you're watching the luge event, there's just no way around it. You can, like, not only can you tell that they're not wearing a cup, you can tell what freaking religion they are.
No, they're not.
Aren't. Like,
Oh my God.
Like they're
wow, that's really awkward. I'm going to have to delete my cache in my history now. Oh, this is just...
Anyways, the Olympics, good times. I got to tell you, I have to tell you, though, when I see people do well at it, it's the small stuff. Like, if you win at snowboarding, right? If you, like this Red Gerard kid, he will be the next Shaun White. He's going to be a bazillionaire forever. Like, you win the gold at the Olympics when you're 17 years old. That's it. You never have to work again. All you have to do is, like, it's the people that do the little sports that, like, I can't imagine that the biathletes don't have day jobs, Like, what do? I'm American and I won gold at snowboarding at age 17. Well, here is your solid gold mansion, your diamond encrusted Learjet, and your private island. Have fun with that. Like, what do? Well, I ski a little bit, then I shoot a little bit. Well, I need someone to sweep up at the back. Well, I could really use that. I had to, like, take 9 months out of my life to train. Like, I really admire the people that do the obscure sports and win. You know what I mean? I think that's cool because that's real dedication. Like, I was watching the curling. The curling's freaking...
Oh my God!
I watched curling for like 3 straight hours on Sunday, and I still don't understand it. And I was like, I don't get it, and I don't understand how it became a sport. I got to find out the origin. But like, one of the things I really liked about watching the curling was I wound up watching. Okay, so 4 years ago, everybody, including the internet, noted in much the same way that the internet noticed that men's luge have. The men's luge bulges are prominent. Yeah. Everybody noticed that the women's Russian curling team were freaking smoking hot, and they were all dancing. Well, not they were all curling in skin tight outfits, and they were contorted into all sorts of shapes. And anyway, so I'm like, curling, flipping sweet. This is going to be great. And I didn't catch that. I caught the mixed doubles curling. And what's kind of cool about it is that I think they've actually got the contestants mic'd up. Now, if you don't know anything about curling, and like I said, I watched 3 hours of this stuff, I still don't know anything about curling. They communicate. Like, the person that shoots it, that's what they're called, the shooter. The shooter who shoots the stone is communicating to the person that's doing the sweeping the whole time. And like, so they're very vocal. They're like, little bit. No, so stop, sweep, or whatever the hell it is they're saying. Again, if you're familiar with alpine sports, and you can correct me on all this and you're seething mad, I really did try and understand it. And I'm going to continue to try to understand it. But I like the fact that they were communicating the whole time, and you got to hear the conversation. And like with the Norwegian team, no freaking idea what they were saying, obviously, because not Norwegian. But with the Canadian team, they were speaking English. And the thing that I liked about it is, like, even when they are competing at an Olympic level, they were faultlessly polite. Like, the guy was saying, like, oh, little that way, please. Yeah, little, please, could you, okay, little.
No way.
And then he was like, oh, sorry, I threw that one a little too hard. Sorry, yeah, that'll be, sorry. You still won, though. Heavens to Gretzky, a button, right past the hog line. Thought it was just a biter. No blank end today. What a bonspiel. Yeah, thanks to curling at the Olympics, I now speak better Canadian.
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KBRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So, like we were saying earlier, Team USA has been doing not too shabby in the Olympic gold medal department or in the Olympic medal department. Red Gerard won America's first gold of the games in men's slope style on Saturday. Jamie Anderson took home gold in ladies slope style. She also won in 2012. And really, if you know anything about snowboarding whatsoever, it was her gold to lose. Like it was unsurprising news to everybody. What was actually kind of jacked up about the women's slopestyle snowboarding is, do you know how the scoring works in slopestyle snowboarding, Travis?
I don't have a clue. And is it one of those things that like, it's like diving where they hold up a number, or is it not like that at all?
Well, I mean, you're judged on, the quality of your run and, all sorts of different technical aspects of it. But what happens is you get 3 runs, and it's not like you take a cumulative score. The best score that you get is your score.
Oh, okay.
So you get 3 runs. But it was really windy around the time that they were doing the women's slopestyle, so they had to cut it down. And what they had was they limited it to 2 runs instead of 3. So you didn't get, you didn't get as many chances to screw up. And then some people actually, they were, you saw them going in for some of the larger jumps. And they were like, nope, not doing it. Because like you could see there was a windsock out on the course, and the windsock was blowing like crazy. There was snow all over the place. And these are when you come down from one of these things, it's like coming down from a 9-story building is what it's like. You're so high in the air. And if you don't feel confident that you can handle the weather conditions doing it, you just don't do it. You live to ski it. You live to snowboard another day. That's just what you do. So there were a couple of people that approached jumps and were like, nope, not doing it. No, thank you. So not only did they get less chances, they got 2 instead of 3, but some people just bailed on their runs because they're like, if it's a choice between doing well on this run and not dying, I'm going to take the not dying option, and which is smart, but it was kind of weird the way it all played out. But nevertheless, Jamie Anderson only needed 1 run to win. She scored an 83 out of a possible 100, which put her 10 points ahead of whoever was in second place, and she didn't beat her own score. So her first score was her best score. But it was I felt bad for some of the contestants who sort of like had to bail on their runs because, spend 4 years training for this event, entire lifetime leading up to it. It's like, I was a little gusty when I was approaching that one, so therefore I didn't medal. Like,
that sucks.
It's frustrating. Frustrating like Jerry Seinfeld pointed out that the Olympics could be.
I have a problem with that silver medal. I think if I was an Olympic athlete, I would rather come in last than win the silver. If you think about it. You win the gold, you feel good. You win the bronze, you think, well, at least I got something. But you win that silver, that's like, congratulations, you almost won. Of all the losers, you came in first of that group. You're the number 1 loser. No one lost ahead of you.
So messed up.
And they don't lose by much. These short races, 300ths of a second, 200ths of a second. I don't know how they live with that the rest of their lives, because you got to tell the story. Everyone wants to hear the story. Wow, congratulations, silver medal. Did you trip? Did you not hear the gun go off? Tell us what happened. It's 100th of a second. People say, what was the difference in the margin there? What was it? Well, it was like from now to now to now, now to now, now to now to now, now. That was it. That was it. Oh. I trained, I worked out, I exercised my entire life. I never had a date, I never had a drink, I never had a beer. I was doing push-ups since I was a fetus. I flew halfway around the world. Everybody I knew in my whole life was there. The guy shot out the gun.
It's totally true, and it is wildly unfortunate.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I felt terrible for the people that had to bail on what could have been a medal-winning run in women's slopestyle snowboarding because of a gust of wind. And it was funny because there was even talk of them allowing, I can't remember her name. Canadian snowboarder. Can you look this up, Travis? Canadian snowboarder, female, slopestyle, but she's got a guy's name.
Really?
Or a name that could be confused with a guy. Yeah. Spencer something. Spencer, I don't know, but she's like, that was her last Olympics, pretty much, because she's like 30 now, which is, you're competing against 17-year-old kids, but she's 30, and she also suffers from rheumatoid arthritis. And she was saying in the run-up to it, she's like, I'm starting to feel my age now, and the rheumatoid arthritis is starting to catch up with me. And so, without saying that's my last Olympics, probably going to be her last Olympics. And she was one of the people that had to bail on a jump on her last run.
That sucks. Spencer O'Brien is her name.
Spencer O'Brien. She had to bail on, and there was even talk that they might allow her a do-over because she bailed so early in it. And then I think that opened a whole big can of worms where like, well, if we allow her to do over, everybody who, lost because of a gust has to do a do-over. And so like they just gave it to Jamie O'Brien. But it's so disheartening, I would imagine. It's like the heartbreak at spending your entire life leading up to that moment and then, having it all blown by a gust of wind. The U.S. figure skating team won bronze, the Shib Sibs. Do you know about them?
Is this that kind of weird one?
I said it was weird and some people got offended. Like they're siblings and they're a male-female figure skating team. What's the Shibiani?
Something like that.
Yeah, so they took bronze, and I was watching. I was like, they're brother and sister, and they figure skate together. And someone told me like, you're being so short-sighted. This is a wonderful thing that they get to as siblings share this experience. Like you wouldn't. I was like, I don't ever want to put my hand on my sister's thigh. Like it's just not a thing that I don't want it to happen accidentally, let alone a million times in practice. But they're athletes that compete at an Olympic level, and people like it's just figure skating. It doesn't mean anything. I was like, if it means nothing, then how come the Canadian figure skating team that took home the gold? Who are those folks, Travis? Do you have that in front of you?
Oh God, I just closed the window.
The Canadian figure skating team that took home the gold when the Shibiani siblings, the Shib Sibs, took home bronze. I mean, they were magic and poetry in motion on the ice. I managed to watch some of them while I was waiting for the snowboarding to come back on. And, credit where credit is due. I saw them and I was just like, they're totally going to win. They're absolutely going to win. There's no question about it. I don't know a thing about skating or figure skating or any of the above, but they're absolutely going to win. And I'm one of those people that must know more about everything that's placed in front of me. Like, you don't want to go to a documentary film with me because I'm just going to be looking everything up online as I was watching. I'm like, I think they played a little loosey-goosey with the truth on that one. But one of the things that I read about the winning couple, did you find their name yet?
Yeah, Tessa Virtue and Scott Mower.
So those two had a routine that was branded "Too Hot for Television."
Like, did you see it? Did they
I didn't
show
see
it anywhere?
But like somewhere there must exist video footage of it. Like, you're going to see it. Like, see the figure skating scene. There was a figure skating routine that was too hot for television. And what it was like, I read a description of it somewhere, and basically like she wraps her legs around his head and they spin around, and people were like,
"Are you serious?"
Yeah, and the Olympic censors were like, "Okay."
Wow.
You're gonna have to do something. You're gonna have to switch it up a little bit there. So yeah, they won. But to the people that were telling me that I was being short-sighted about the Shib Sibs dancing with siblings in that case, and that it was an Olympic event and a sport, and they should take it seriously, I was like, then how come the winning routine was branded "Too Hot for TV"? Come on.
It's just weird. I don't know. Like, I'm trying not to make something dirty out of something that's not dirty, but it's just weird. If your brother or your sister.
You know what's interesting though? I thought it was weird, and then I watched their routine, and I was like, because this is what I understand about ice dancing. Not a lot, but I feel like you're trying to sell the idea of a relationship
romance,
between the couple.
Right?
Yes,
yeah.
you're trying to sell the idea of love and passion and romance. And the Shib Sibs look like a brother and sister dancing. Like, it wasn't weird. It was like, when I heard that it was going to happen, I was like, they're siblings and they're going to be doing this. And people were like, you're so short-sighted. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, they look like a brother and sister doing it. Like, you could totally picture them starting out when they were kids doing goofy skits to entertain their parents. That's not selling short their abilities. They're obviously amazing at what they do. They medaled in the Olympics, but they weren't selling the passion and the romance that other figure skating scenes were. Hey,
thank God. Thank God.
And yes, and thank goodness for that. We don't have a ton of time left, but Travis, you said one of the things that you don't like about the Olympics is it's hard to keep up with what is a sport and what isn't.
Yeah, it's like, one thing that it's like you discover this sport that you really like because you don't watch the Olympics all the time, and then 4 years later the Olympics are back and it's nowhere to be seen. They've taken it out of the Olympics.
Yeah, it was a big deal in the action sports community when snowboarding really became sort of an accepted part of the Winter Olympics. That was like a big deal. And then curling, apparently that was in the Olympics, and then it was out of the Olympics, and then it was back in again. So I thought we'd play a little game of, is it an Olympic sport? You ready for this, Travis?
I have a bad feeling I'm not going to do well, but yeah, go.
All right. Travis Golightly. Was it an Olympic sport? Snowball fighting.
No, it's not.
No, it's never been an Olympic sport, even though it absolutely should be. Ski ballet. Was it an Olympic sport?
Yes?
Yes, it was a demonstration event at the Winter Olympics in 88 and 1992. This happened recently. It never became an official Olympic sport because organizers decided it wasn't athletic enough.
It's terrible.
Sled dog racing.
Terrible. Yes.
Yes, it's still not an official Olympic sport, but it was a demonstration event in 1932, 52, and 94. Those Iditarod types must be all mad that they're not allowed to compete. Speed skiing, where skiers just bomb straight down the hill as fast as possible.
No.
Yes, they hit speeds over 140 miles an hour during the 1992 Olympics, but it got pulled after a skier from Switzerland died during a practice run.
Okay, those are the sports that they need to leave in the Olympics. If there's a risk of dying, I want to watch it.
It's pretty freaking morbid, dude. All right,
I'm sorry.
And finally, for the win, for the gold, Travis, ice fishing. Has it ever been an Olympic sport?
No.
Well, no, it hasn't. But your logic as to why it hasn't been an Olympic sport is meaningless because while ice fishing has never been an Olympic sport, regular fishing was a sport at the Summer Olympics in 1900. So there you go. Well done. I think you got all of those right.
I'm not going to lie. I guessed at every single one of them.
Well, you...
I got lucky is all I got.
Brilliant deductions all on your part. Well done. So are you
going to watch it? Are you going to like... Are you going to watch all the Olympics?
No, because it was the weekend, and I got to be honest with you, I had so much work to do this weekend, so I just kind of hung around the house working and watching. Like a big part of what I do is I program radio stations, and that is stuff that you can do in front of the laptop while you're watching something on TV. So I did catch a lot of the Olympics that way. But I mean, with the time delay, with the fact that there's 14 to 17 hours ahead of us, and it'll be really hard to kind of keep track the way you would like to. But I got to admit, I did derive a certain amount of hometown pride watching our athletes take home the gold in snowboarding. So good job, Team EOSA. You're doing your thing, and we are all very proud of you.